Hey everybody, Scoutcrafter here again. It's Wednesday, midweek Wednesday, and what another beautiful day. So can't spend a lot of time down the shop, got a lot of work to do around the house, but a couple things I want to talk about. The purple asters are coming up good. Let me show you them.
Now you can see here the purple asters are starting to all come up, and what's really interesting is that it's attracting a lot of honeybees, you know, the good European bees, and you know, this is kind of late in the season for them, so I don't know what's going to happen, but it's always nice to see them around.
Okay, let's get down the shop, see what we got going on today. Down the shop, and you know, this is such a busy time of year for me because of, you know, we don't get too many perfect days here. You know, when you want to get that yard work done and everything ready before winter time, you don't want to be struggling to cover air conditioners and all those things before the winter, so you do it now and enjoy it. First thing I have to tell you, I woke up this morning and I was given a beautiful motivation by my good friend Ben from across the pond. You know, his channel is Tool Addict, and Ben is just doing some phenomenal work. And he did a wrench today, an adjustable wrench. I'll leave a link in the description. Unbelievable. You know, it just makes you feel so when you see somebody do justice to a wrench. And, you know, a lot of these tools, you know, that are put out by manufacturers, they only got a couple seconds to work on that tool to grind it down. It comes out of the forge. They only have, you know, what, 30 seconds to grind it down just so there's no super sharp edges on it. And then they throw it into a bin because they can't afford to spend an hour on a wrench. I mean, if you spent an hour on a wrench, you know what that wrench would cost, you know? So that's why you see these wrenches come out, you know, that look not like the designer wanted them to look. So Ben took this antique wrench that's this adjustable, and he did it justice. I hope you get to see it because it really motivated me today. His work is second to none. Another thing I want to talk about, I had to go to the bank. You know, my bank is closing. Is this happening to you? We get, you know, banks close their brick and mortar stores every so often, you know, their locations. Mine was Capital One, and up here, that particular bank has been 4 banks over the last 25 years or something. It changes. It went from College Point Savings Bank to Hamburg to Greenpoint, and then the Capital One. So each time it changes, you know, everything's got to change, it checks and everything. But I went up there to take out a withdrawal of cash because I only get to the bank a couple times a year. And when I went up there and I was withdrawing my money, I noticed the bills. And I remember when I was a kid, one of the first things we were taught by old timers, or I was anyway, was how to put your money in your pocket. You know, did you ever see somebody, they pull out the money in their pocket and it's all crimpled up, and here we say like a crackhead. You know, they pull out their money and it's all like, you know, it looks like you don't even know. They have to uncrinkle it to see what it is, what denomination it is. Well, I have it was a big thing in my family. You know, you always put your bills in order, and they had to face the same way. And I remember when I started working, I've had 19 jobs on the books before I went to the MTA. And one of the jobs was in a supermarket. You had to, you know, they wanted your money. When you had a cash drawer or something, all the bills had to be facing the same way and right side up. And today, because of the automatic counters, when you get your money at a bank, it's all, you know, different. It's backwards, forward. It's, you know, that annoys me. I know it's like a little bit of OCD, but I'm like, it's so unprofessional. I remember the banks they always gave you your money straightened out and in the correct orientation. And now, am I the only guy that carries his money that when I start counting my money in my pocket, like I keep it folded over in a money clip? Am I the only one that makes sure it's all facing the same way? Or do you have, like, you know, your big bills towards the back and your small ones in the front or whatever? And I don't know. Some people, they just, you know, they have a wad of money in their pocket and they don't know, you know, where the 20s are, where the 10s are. Am I the only one? I was walking by it last night, and you know, we were talking about how those park benches, those ugly park benches from a couple weeks ago, I looked at these benches as I was walking by Ito. There was some benches out front, I guess, for the people to sit and take a break or whatever. What beautiful benches. I was like, wow. And they're modern. And I have to tell you, you know, you ever see a bench that you just have to sit on it because you got to try it out? Like a lazy boy. When I was a kid, you know, we would go into we would go into the Macy's or Alexander's, or be walking around, and you'd walk past the Lazy Boy, and we, as kids, we'd all have to jump in a Lazy Boy and try it out, you know, kick the leg, the leg ottoman up, and it was a lot of fun. Well, I tried it out. This bench was beautiful. Check out these benches, you know, with the stonework on the side, and there was two colors. They had black, green. They were around the building, and I said, this is a nice example. I know it's modern, but I like it, and it was very comfortable, powder-coated metal. I really liked it, so I do appreciate when, even though it's new, I do appreciate when somebody takes the time out to make something functional and comfortable. It was nice benches. On my way back home from Edo, I happened to be walking. Somebody threw out a whole bunch of furniture in their garbage. And it was not, you know, it wasn't messed up furniture, but it was just, I guess they were moving or whatever. And they took all the furniture apart. It was kind of like the IKEA type furniture. And they had this bag of hardware wrapped up with the front, you know, it was taped. And I just pulled this bag out and I said, ooh. Like my friend Reggie would say, "Ooh, look at this." So I grabbed this bag, and let me show you what this is. Now, what I found was a beautiful assortment of bolt and barrel nuts. These are barrel nuts, or they call them dog bone nuts. There's a bunch of things they call these, but what these are made for furniture, for joining furniture, and also for temporary or making something that can come apart. And there's so many uses for these barrel nuts. And you can see usually on one side they have a way to turn it so you can align it, and the other way. And let me show you how these work, because they're really interesting and they're good to keep in your bag of tricks. Now, to my absolute chagrin, these barrel nuts are 1/4 by 20, which is a common size here. Usually they're metric because they're all made overseas, but these are 1/4 by 20 here. And how they work, you know, when you're dealing with a piece of wood here, we have this over here is called end grain, and we deal with that a lot in furniture, whatever. And end grain, the one thing about end grain is it's very weak. If I put a screw in side grain like this, it's very strong. If I was to take that same screw and put it into here, it would pull out, because the end grain is like a stack of straws, and it really doesn't have anything to hold to grip the screw. So when you're joining two pieces of wood like this, you know, if you want to join something like this together and you were going to screw into here, you would either have to have a super long screw to make up for the weakness of the end grain, which, you know, isn't really what you want, and that's not ideal. Or you can use one of these fasteners here, and I'm going to show you. Drill a hole here, place it through. Let's hook it up and show you what it looks like. Okay, now I love hardware, and I love these. But when I first found out about these, I mean, it was just, I said, this is the coolest thing ever. And let me show you what you do. You drill your 2 1/4-inch holes for the so that the bolt can pass through here where you want to join it. We're going to join it like this here, these 2 pieces of wood. And again, remember, end grain is very, it's not strong, so you don't have but this will increase the strength by a lot. You take the barrel nut, you place it in here, and you can see that it has both Phillips and a regular flathead screwdriver you could use, but that one long one, that long line, that indent there, is what you take your flathead screwdriver and you line it up so that it's parallel with that surface. Now you take this, you put on here, pass your bolt through here. It's going to go into this hole here, and you're going to work it so that it does find its thread into the barrel hole, and it usually does because it's countersunk. Now this, even though it's a 1/4 by 20, this is a 4mm. That's just what they do. They do that to mess with you. So that's a 4mm hex. But here, now you can see we have it lined up here. We're going to give it a nice little tighten up here. And I'm not going crazy, but you can see now you have this nice and sturdy. This is extremely strong joint. And again, you have to worry about it pulling out of the end grain. So really fantastic fastener. I suggest you put them in your bag of tricks. And the best thing is they call it like a knockdown fastener, meaning you can take it down and you could take it apart whenever without any glue or anything, but it's super strong. I love this hardware. Okay, next up, I'm in the backyard. Like I said, I got a lot of cutting up and stuff, but I want to introduce you to a couple tools that I think if you don't have, it's a must-have thing. And I'll tell you, whenever you have to do yard work or something, these are just as much fun as the dake. That's right, I said it. Let's check them out. Okay, these are some of my most prized tools. This was my grandmother's. You can see here, it's the original snap cut number 119.
These are Anvil Cutters, and how you work them is you there's a little lock there. Push that down so that now it works normal. It has a spring, and it's an anvil. It's got a brass plate so it don't dull the cutter. These things work fantastic. I'll demonstrate them in a minute. That's for smaller items, and for your larger items, we have this beautiful Corona. You can see Corona makes these, and these are called Easy Cut. And you can see here they work just like a bolt cutter, but it's again it's an anvil cut, and I'm telling you, this will go through a, it says 1.5 inches of capacity, but I'm telling you, this saves you so much time. Forget the saw, forget these are the things you have to get. Invest in a pair of these. They're called Loppers. They're unbelievable. So let me show you. Sometimes you get a rogue branch or something that you have to trim off or whatever. And again, what's so nice about these anvil cutters is when you come up to this branch here and you cut it down, it just like butter, it cuts through. It's so satisfying. I'm telling you, you got to get a pair of these. It makes easy work of doing all your yard work. I'm telling you, invest in a good commercial duty trash can, and this is called Brute by Rubbermaid. It says 32 gallon, but you have, because of the width of it, you use a 55 gallon drum liner, which is the plastic bag that goes in, and I'll show you what that looks like. Now, I know this might seem simple to you, but it took me 20 years to find out the exact way to do this, and this is the most important thing. You want a big bag whenever you're doing any kind of leaf. You got to rake leaves or something like that. The bigger the bag, the better, because when you get those small bags, that's what takes the most time, is putting the stuff in the bag. And the bigger the bag, leaves aren't heavy, so you can get a huge bag. And by having it inside this commercial duty trash can, you can really compress it and not worry about it breaking through the bag. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how we cut up that branch we just... Now the problem is, if you try and take this and shove it into the can, it's going to rip through the liner. It's because these are sharp. So what you do is, that's when you take your little snap cut here and you cut it into 6 to 8 inch pieces, and you just fill up the bag like this until this is all gone. And that's how I get rid of trees and everything, because the only way we could throw them out here is in bags like this. Absolutely one of my favorite tools, and if you have any kind of yard work to do, I suggest picking one of these up. It is just a ton of fun to use, and you can go through all kinds of brush work and up to 1.5 inches, and it just goes through it like... So in closing, thanks very much for tuning in. I guess you didn't expect this today, a little bit of a mosh, midweek mosh. Anyway, take care, have a nice day, bye-bye now.